Welcome to the Clause YouTube channel.
Together, we strive for a safer, secure, and more stable world.
Hello and welcome to Strategic Frontlines, the YouTube channel of Clause. Today we thought let's open the entire show to the audience. So we will be taking on all questions of the audience unless they are totally out of sync. And these questions will request you to keep it restricted to international relations, warfare, conflict, and generally the security matters. Uh, I don't want them going into the political domain because that's not our domain. So that is one of the requests, or the, I would say, the rules for asking the questions. So uh, basically, till the time the chat box gets populated by the questions of the public, let me announce two, three things which have happened in the clause, and because of which we are now going to take some actions which will be kind of more linked to the audiences of ours. So, 2 days back, we got a comment from one of our viewers who's a regular viewer of clause, Mr. Iyengar from South India. He had said that Pew Research has come out with some figures which are stating that India has lost popularity in 24 nations from 2024 to today. And these are the nations to 2025. And these are the nations where we are wanting to extend our cooperation because of the tariffs which have kicked in as far as the defense matters are concerned. Some of the countries are like Israel, Spain. Uh, Similarly, there were two, three more countries which he mentioned. Australia, the popularity of India has gone down. So there are a number of these things which are taking place geopolitically, and also geopolitically, you find that today the entire geopolitics is going through some churn, as you can say so, through because of the tariff and because of the way Trump has been approaching various security problems, international relations. You have new friends coming up, new partnerships coming up. And you have some kind of a tussle between East and the West, North and the South. In amongst all this, India stands somewhat, I would say, on its own feet because of our policy of strategic autonomy. Whether it is good or bad, our experts will state them as we go along. So I find that as the questions are coming up, we will chip in. And to answer these questions, we have with us Vice Admiral A.B. Singh, former Commander-in-Chief of Western and the Eastern Navy, as also a nuclear expert. We have Dr. Tara Kartha, International Relations, National Security, Pakistan, Afghanistan, and by now she has become expert of the entire global geopolitics. So a very warm welcome to you, Tara, also. And so we will take on the first question, sir. I think we'll see the question and how and to whom it can be best addressed. In my measured view, global geopolitics appears to be in gridlock. While, of course, given a choice, nations are getting aggressive and willing to go to war with one another. Your views. Now, this was a question I must let you all know, both of our guests today, that was debated during the Ran Samvad quite a bit. It was raised by also director IIM Indore, Mr. Himanshu Rai, who said that the propensity to go to war has increased manifold in the last few, I would say, few years. So let's have both of you commenting on this, and then we can start with Vice Admiral AB Singh since it's related to warfare, and then you can give the global perspective as to why we are going in for this kind of thing. Over to you, Vice Admiral AB Singh.
Okay, thank you so much, and good evening to all the viewers. I think it's a very fair observation to say that there is a great propensity for war. But we have to remember that these are very isolated cases. It's not happening all over the world. And really speaking, a lot of thought processes are changing because of the current administration in the US. Now, relationship between nations, in my opinion, is about national interests, and these are long-term relationships. They cannot be episodical, and they cannot be driven by individual. They will be driven by individual personalities, but they will not, be totally controlled by them, because there's a larger effort to build something. And let's say if you were to take either of the wars that are going on, whether it's the Russia-Ukraine war, or the Israel conflict, or the bombing of Iran. Really speaking, these are very, very focused, and there is an agenda which is there. Now, nobody else is jumping into it. While there may be a lot of accusations that somebody is supplying weapons to one party and somebody is buying somebody's oil, or somebody is giving intelligence. Uh, Really speaking, these are wars which have remained in animation because none of the parties are willing to cede. Let's look at the Russia-Ukraine war. You know, I think Mr. Zelensky, if he's asked, say, by the next generation, what has he achieved for the country? We
Yes.
have to ask that. And will the next generation be actually be there? The data which shows today is that there's a huge amount of migration of women which has taken place. The women of the age who would be able to bear children in the future. And a large amount of population has migrated out of the country. So even if, let's say, we get a truce today, I don't know how Ukraine is going to be rebuilt. So national leaders have to take a clear view on where they want to take their countries. And I think we are very fortunate in that aspect that we have a very balanced leadership, which, despite the games in Opsindur, did not escalate further. And I think that's the point that I would like to make.
Okay, Dr. Tara, I think he is conveyed that there is certain amount of a long-term view of everything, but of late it is seen that the tendency to go to war has slightly been, I would say, faster, and leaders are also jumping to it. I don't know, without looking at it from a long-term perspective. So, what do you have to say in terms of, are the is the right-wing nationalist kind of a movement which is taking place across various countries? We take France, uh, right wing is coming up in a big way. Zelensky can be termed now into an extremist position as far as Ukraine is concerned. Likewise, you find everywhere there is nationalistic fervor which has gone around. Do you think this is the reason for our going to war on a drop of a hat, or do you feel there is more of a reasoning behind these countries going into war in terms of that it is going to secure their national interest? Is it going to secure their national interest, or is it to secure the political interest or personal interests of the leaders who are at the helm of affairs?
Yeah, I think
So,
basically that's a good question, right, from Mr. Tadani. And your point, and I think according to statistics, we have got 56 active armed conflicts. That's the highest
yeah,
since World War II. So there is,
yes,
his point is right. There are far more wars than before. Why are there far more wars? I think one important point, which I really think I want to write that at some point of time, is that the moral ground which once said that thou shalt not go into their neighbor's territory, thou shalt not slaughter innocents, has gone. It's okay if, say, 10,000 people died in Ukraine, or another kids are getting maimed in Gaza. Who cares? So once that kind of, I would never say international affairs had any morality to it. Of course, that didn't happen. But there was a kind of lid on this, which said that look, you can't go beyond this. It's not right. That is gone. So number two is the fact that suddenly there's a lot of money in war. I just tweeted this, the fact that the oil companies, the major five Western oil companies, have made $380 billion in profit from the
Including
Ukraine war.
including
And
Indian oil companies.
no, 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 no. These are the five major Western, primarily
Okay.
US. They have
Okay.
made that the kind of money they made. ExxonMobil, 1 year after the war, was making how much? 67 million an hour.
Oh
That's
my
the
God.
kind of money we're talking of. Then, of course, is the fact that Trump now says we will arm Ukraine, Europe will pay for it, I will give the defense equipment. So, this war has become about making a lot of money. Number two. And number three is that exactly as you said, General Dushyant Singh, a bunch of people who would have liked to have done a lot of things and didn't do it earlier are now doing exactly what they were prevented. And the prime example, of course, is our neighbor Pakistan, who brought this war on themselves in a very deliberate fashion. They brought the whole Pahalgam thing was planned as part of their strategy. He wanted a war, he got it. When he got the war, he got his diplomatic, not diplomatic, well, I would say his own personal field marshal, etc., etc. And I just want to bring to your attention one thing. At a certain meeting, which I will not name, this was a year and a half back. It was very, very clear that the Pakistanis were desperate for US attention. The desperation was so high that it was virtually, I mean, it was uncomfortable. Now they've got it. And how have they got it? With a war, which everyone says it's okay to go to war. So I think that is what the gentleman is asking about, is that there is people are getting aggressive. And that filters into your country through social media. So it's a very dangerous game. Your
Yeah.
own
So in my view, possibly money, possibly lowering of the morals and ethics. I'm talking at the global level. Possibly also the fact that global common institutions are losing their effect and influence, have been one of the reasons why people are undertaking wars more frequently. As also, I feel this new animal of gray zone warfare has somewhere allowed everyone to interfere into another country's affairs and get away with it. Right. So we'll go to the next person because we want to accommodate as many as possible today. So this question is from AR Geopolitics. Sir, we need to secure our USD reserve. US might withhold our USD reserve just like Russia. More and more India is being clubbed with Russia. RBI should sell US Treasury bond and buy physical gold. Okay, we'll follow the same procedure. Quick comments on these so that we take more number of questions because the chat box is now getting populated. So over to you, Admiral Avis.
Okay, thank you so much. I think I quite agree to a certain extent that we have to diversify our holdings. But to jump from one bandwagon to another bandwagon may not be a great idea. And I'm sure there are enough qualified people in RBI thinking about it. They would be gaming this entire thing. And when we set up our forex reserves, hopefully there are people thinking about it and they would be moving this. So thank you for that question. But I'm really speaking not the one who would be moving this gold around. But I kind of agree with your thought process.
Yeah, Dr. Tara.
no, it's a very intelligent question, but I think I'll pass because I'm nowhere near being an economist, so I'll pass on that.
Okay, I want to add two pennies worth of mine on this issue. A, China has increased its gold reserves in the past. China has dumped a lot of treasury bonds of the US, because of which the US has been forced to extend the tariff application for another 90 days. So in principle, this is a very good measure as an offensive means to curb Trump. But I suppose India should do it after feeling the world around, in the sense, and exactly that is what Prime Minister Modi is doing. He's gone to Japan. he would, I'm sure, take an informal feedback from that country. Then he's going to SCO, where 26 world leaders are meeting. I think after this SCO meet, where he would be able to get a chance to, he or the staff of his, which is accompanying the prime minister, they would be able to gather the sense, should we go ahead with this? In any case, India has increased its gold reserves from what it was earlier, expecting this kind of turbulence in our economic affairs. So I think AR geopolitics, you're right, but we will be slightly cautious given our nature of hook ke chalna. We are always, want to be with one leg on the ground. We don't want to fly with both legs up, so that if that happens, we'll fall straight on the ground. So I think we follow that policy of one leg on the ground, the other leg in the air, and use it accordingly. So we'll go to the next one. This is coming from our next regular viewer, Sam Keating. Uh, Asks, sir, AUKUS has massive cost overruns, and it is unclear if it will actually pan out as imagined. Many Australians think it's better to them to develop defensive capabilities than buy subs. Views. Now, this is directly directed to Vice Admiral AB Singh, and nobody else will comment on this, including me, because it's his area of expertise. Over to you, sir.
Okay, a wonderful question, I must say, because AUKUS is the heart of the Australian uh, forays into the maritime world once again. See, if you look at Australia, initially they had a carrier force, a carrier-borne aircraft, large number of ships, and at some stage when they went joint, they kind of closed whole lot of areas, and they lost their aircraft carrier and the aircraft, and kind of reorganized. And in the bargain, the Navy became the smallest service and also little funding. Now, AUKUS is really, I don't know if it works out and when it works out, because it's a long shot. Basically, what AUKUS has done is they stopped the French pipeline, which is going to come to them in terms of the submarine plan. And now
Yeah.
they hope that they will get the American submarines. Now, rightly so, Australia, if it has to counter anybody, it has to have nuclear powered submarines, which are SSGN or nuclear powered submarines without the nuclear missiles. Now, to build them, there are very few countries who can offer you that capability. US has got a proven capability. The Brits have got a proven capability. Now, it depends, totally on how long this is going to take. It's not going to be easy. My personal view is, I think this generation is going to retire before they even get to see a glimpse of that submarine deal getting finalized. And once they do that, I think maximum they'll get is few submarines every 1 or 2 years. So it's a long shot. But in the medium term, if I were to say, they could get some submarines on lease from the Americans, which they by themselves don't have too many of them. So it's a huge challenge, but that's a decision that the Australians have made. And I don't quite envy the Navy there, and I don't quite agree with the decision. You could have renegotiated the entire deal with the French, and maybe they would have built it for you better. But that's a national decision in national interest that the government of the day has taken.
So we'll move on to the next question. I only had one thing to add, that yesterday we had some discussions, and there was a country which was kind of well up on the subs. So maybe they could think of collaborating with them and possibly dumping the AUKUS. I don't know. I don't know.
No, I don't think that is a possibility because see, most of the countries that are offering them earlier were
Hmm.
conventional submarines.
Yeah, I know.
What because of the geography and the distances involved in terms of
Yeah, they
Australia,
need it. They need the
it's a
nuclear.
huge, they need the nuclear boat. Otherwise, that boat
Yeah,
will be hardly any effective, and they will get many
absolutely.
more of those.
Okay, so maybe that was the reason why he said that they should go in for a defensive kind of approach
Can
rather
I
than
just
an
add?
offensive.
Can I just
Yeah,
add one
sure.
line?
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
that June review where they did of the AUKUS. where they said we are reviewing it in terms of our own defense industrial capabilities back in the US. I think that sent quite a shock throughout the system, wondering what on earth is going on. So that in turn ties to our deals for G engines. There is a problem, I think, with the defense industrial base back in the US itself. That is also an issue. I'll stop there.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll move on to the next question, and that is again by geopolitics. I'll answer this question because it's more to do with the clause. I'm a CA, have held leadership positions in Fortune 500 MNC, would like to be part of clause for business and financial domain research. As geopolitics is centered around that, please share your emails. So our email is there on our website, AR Geopolitics. You can send us an email, and I would like to inform you that. We recently received this email from Iyengar, as I mentioned to you, and he has quoted Pew Research data on that. So we are going to have next week a show with him also being part of the panel and explaining this entire research to us and then seeking comments of the audience. So you can see that we are trying to connect with the audience, those who are giving us very constructive suggestions. And this is going out for everybody, that whosoever is coming on our channel, that you are being taken seriously, and your voice, if it has got some substance, will reach the right places in the power blocks or the power spaces of our country. So please share these videos which we have with all your friends so that they can make a difference. And I would recommend go to channels which have the ways and means to influence the policy domain. So with that, I'll go to the next question, and this is by Ritik Kothari. Jan sir, I say that until 80s, units were commanded by lieutenant colonels and not full colonels. So what did full colonels actually do not do on the field, since brigades next field formations under brigadiers? Okay, so this I'll answer it since it is related to the military. So look, the reason to change the entire rank structure had two, three considerations. Initially, the commanding officer's rank was changed from lieutenant colonel to colonel to bring in some amount of equivalency between the other domains of security which are there in our country, police and other paramilitary, or now they are called as central police, armed forces, etc. But then what we realized was that there was a delay in promotion to the rank of colonel because we were following the old method of promotion. That means we used to first have a selection for lieutenant colonel, then have a selection for colonel, and by the time he became a colonel, like I became a colonel to command my battalion, when I was having 22 years of service. By that time, there were people who used to be knocking the doors of becoming an additional secretary. That was one issue. But more importantly, the next change came where full colonels are commanding is by doing away with the promotion criteria, selection criteria for lieutenant colonels. So lieutenant colonels became early, 11, 12 years of service, 13 years. That's the service bracket. And there was only one selection board for colonels. The colonels rank, these people now started getting at 13, 14 years of service or 15 years of service. So that is making the profile young. This happened after the Kargil war, where you found that the commanding officers had ages beyond 40, 41, 42, 43, and they found it difficult to keep up with the attacking force, which was climbing the heights to the tune of 15,000, 16,000, 18,000 feet. As you all know, Kargil was the highest battlefield in the world where any troops have fought in the world. India is the only probably country which attacked these features and won it. So this was the basic reason. Now, as far as doing of duties, etc., is concerned, there is no change. The same duties are being performed, except that certain billets have been, or certain positions have been upgraded to a higher rank. That's all. So the positions which were earlier being looked after in the staff by a lieutenant colonel, they are being looked after by a colonel. Positions which are being looked after by a major, they are being looked after by a lieutenant colonel. That's all. So it's more to do with equivalency, and B, more importantly, ability to function with your troops along with them, and becoming kind of the front leaders in this combat, especially in the combat zone. So this is the answer to your question. We'll go to the next one, and this
Can I
is from
add one
another.
word in it?
Yeah, yeah, you can say, you can.
So I think one question also one needs to know that the duration of the rank and colonel used to be for
Yeah,
very short while.
yeah.
So
Now it
really
is
speaking, it was like a transitionary time between lieutenant colonel to brigadier. So that you could
absolutely.
elaborate.
Yeah. So basically, what happened was, since now earlier, what used to happen? Like I got promoted at 22. By 25 years, I was jumping in and becoming a brigadier. Within 2 years, I became a major general. So what happened was we were getting lesser time at the strategic level to, or operational and the strategic level, to actually devote and get some expertise. Now with this, what is happening at the kernel level, he's getting good over 10 to 12 years. In this 10 to 12 years, he actually learns the ropes of managing the affairs of military affairs, both in staff and in command and in various appointments. Now we are having deputation across navy, deputation across air force. Similarly, the air force officers are coming to the army, and then we have joint organizations like the Andaman Nicobar Command, where CDM, where people are of different services serving together. So that experience actually comes in very handy for the officers to function when they actually become brigadiers or equivalent, like commodores in the navy, air commodore in the air force, AVMs in the air force, air marshals, and similarly in the army, major generals and lieutenant generals. So there is a much better, I would say, preparedness of officers to tenant these. The best, of course, in this is the Navy, which started this whole process much before the army could wake up. They used to get their captains promoted very early, and therefore they had their major generals also. Sorry, rear admirals also serving for about 5 to 6 years in that particular rank, and gaining much more operational and strategic level experience either in staff or command. So I think we have devoted enough time on this particular question, but good that you asked this question. We will go to the next question. Ask General Dushyant, you're targeting me. I wanted to submit a paper to clause for the competition that ended on 25th August, but was unable to since I didn't have access to turn it in and plagiarism detection. Any solutions for this? Okay, you submit the paper, we have the turn it in, and we will check your paper and we will put it up. The dates have been extended by 2 more weeks. A good news for you. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Amitesh Vera. So why our private players are not interested in R&D? This is both of you. We will start this time with Dr. Tara Kartha and then Admiral AB. Dr. Tara,
I-
over to you.
Excellent question. And I think this is something I've raised earlier also, that there are, I think our national average as a percentage of GDP is about 0.66%. That is about, the world average is about 4 times that. Japan, I think, spends about 3.4% of GDP on R&D. So the once the private firms would say, we don't have the climate for R&D, the government is not letting us do it. Now the government has opened up, and they're still not doing it. They don't, unless Atmanirbhar rests on your ability to do your own R&D. And I think that is the way to go. And if they don't take advantage of all the advantages the government is giving them, then it's a tragedy. And that's how you'd wind up in the present situation.
Yeah. So, comment by you, Admiral Levy.
So I kind of don't quite agree in terms of, while the data which Dr. Tara has said is true. Of late, I think in the last 3 4 years, we are seeing a shift, and that shift is for good. But the amount of money that is being pumped in is really low. We pump in more money in CSR than we do for R&D.
Absolutely,
That's the
absolutely. This is a
unfortunate
very good
part.
point.
And
Hmm.
This,
and actually R&D doesn't qualify under CSR. So in fact, one of the
ab-
papers that I had written at some point in time, I said, at least put R&D. R&D by DRDO and by DPSC qualifies, but R&D by private player does not qualify under the CSR. So if we
Your voice is gone. Your voice is gone. Admiral AB, your voice is gone. Okay. Yeah. Can you speak now?
Okay, so I
Yeah.
would say
Yeah.
that. Can you hear me now?
Now
Can you
we
hear
can
me?
hear you.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
So I would say that large amount of R&D is happening, but high-end R&D requires deep pockets. So there are companies which are putting in a lot of money, the big ones, and I think one thing very good that has happened over the last few years is a lot of government machinery for testing has been opened up. Whether it is DRDO labs or ISRO labs, of course there is a queue and that's not the best way to do, but it is happening. But certainly there is great scope for improvement. At least multiplying that R&D by about 3-4 times, I think, is the minimum requirement, and that is the only way to go. Let me give you two major examples. Like the Indian Navy would import steel for all our ships that we built. Now at one point in time we committed that we are going to build this steel in India. So the naval NMRL is the naval lab, which is under DRDO, which is in Mumbai. We gave them all the specifications of Russian steel, every steel, and SAIL finally developed it. So today, when you have ships built in India, the steel comes from SAIL. It comes from SR steel because that steel has been given to everybody in the make. Then the next step was to build steel for the submarines, which is much more difficult. We are very good at alloys. So these success stories are there, but by and large, there is a need to spend a lot of money. I agree with you.
Okay. So what we will do from now on is only one person will attempt the question, and other, if he wants to add anything, can add it quickly, and we'll move on to the next question so that we take more number of guests who are now punching in their questions. So this is a question I think I will give it to Dr. Tara because uh, the previous one was answered by Admiral AB Singh. So over to you, Dr. Tara, for this. When do you think India will be ready to shape its neighborhood and fix the borders? We have the strength to do it. We don't have the strategic goals to capitalize on the strength. Seems to be very
Okay.
critical. Answer to you.
An excellent question again. Because when we say neighborhood first, you have to put your goals down very clearly as to what exactly you expect from the neighborhood, and more importantly, what the neighborhood expects from you. So saying that you're the security coordinator is not good enough. Again, I'll come back to the fact that industry has to sow seeds in these countries. You have to outsource some of your stuff so that that neighbor has a stake in working with you. It is not good enough to say that we are very friends with you and blah blah and all the rest of it. There should be a strong profit motive for that country to engage with you. So I'll stop there. I think that's pretty much the way we should be going.
No,
Any
I
quick
also want
comments
to
by you?
say here, yeah, I want to say that you should also remember the maritime neighborhood. Just not
Yes.
think of your land boundaries, because
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
huge opportunity in Africa, which are your maritime neighbors. There are huge opportunity in Southeast Asia. So those are the areas that we also should be interested in.
Okay. So we move on to the next question. I think ask Lieutenant General Dushyant Singh, what are our long-term plans regarding BD? Can we have a trifurcated or bifurcated country with no future becoming and another headache? So I will I'll give this to Dr. Tara and then give my comments. So Dr. Tara quickly and then Admiral AB.
No, I think
Let's all
he's asked you, so you should answer that. See,
okay, but I want you to try it out because you're the IR expert here. Let's take you for the this question. Then I'll
see the
answer.
noise. Yeah, so the noise levels in Bangladesh is periodical. If you take the long view, it comes and goes, and that's true of all our neighbors. Any new government comes will bash India. There's nothing much that you can do about it but wait it out. And in the end, they'll come back to you. And that lesson we've seen in Maldives. So I think it's in Bangladesh, it's recently become a little more complicated because of the entry of the US, the entry of China. We may have be facing a new Cold War right on your doorstep. And this time you can't say non-aligned and walk away. I think you're up in it up to your neck. So
Yeah.
we'll have to see how this goes.
Uh, uh, Admiral, maybe quick comment by you if you want to.
No,
Okay, my quick, yeah, go ahead.
so Bangladesh, it's a land problem, and we've got to sort this out. And I fully agree with Tara, and I think General Dushyant should take this on. It's your core area of
Okay,
competence.
so okay, I'll take this on. First thing, as far as Bangladesh is concerned, look, we should not do anything in a hurry. And to that point, I agree with Dr. Tara that if you do a little long-term view of our neighbors, they ultimately turn around to India, barring Pakistan, which is an exception because Pakistan was created out of India's two nation theory kind of a concept which Jinnah etc. promoted, and therefore they have this organic conflict with us, and organic conflicts are very difficult to tackle. I call them as wicked problem. As far as Bangladesh is concerned, we have leverages. We should use them when the right time comes and not be in a hurry to do that. Like for example, very recently, I'll give you an example, and where I've given a podcast on that. Yunus and Co decided for a repatriation from Pakistan and punched in a bill of 4.1 billion only for the loan which was given to Pakistan to actually see through the floods which had taken place in Bangladesh way back in 1970 as a penalty. Now, this resulted in a retort by their foreign minister saying, "What loan? Which loan?" So those are the seeds of dissent now taking place between Bangladesh and Pakistan, which were getting lovey-dovey. So you will find that these frictions will start increasing when the basic nature of creation of Bangladesh is different from that of Pakistan. Bangladesh was created more on cultural differences, more on language differences, more on being treated badly. These things will start emerging when they start coming and dictating terms to Bangladesh. Yunus will realize it, and it is at that time we should strike hard and strike hard with all our means, whole of nation approach, like we did for Maldives, like we have done for Sri Lanka. It's not only Maldives, Sri Lanka too. We managed it initially. Sri Lanka was not that pro India, not favorably. Very, it was more into the Chinese hand. But look at Sri Lanka now. I think it's more and more closer to India. Bangladesh will also turn around. That's the view which I take. We have to be careful of our internal security of the Northeast, that it should not get impacted by the Cold War, as Dr. Tara was saying, which is now being played out between Myanmar, Bangladesh, and US, and the rebel groups which are there in the northeast eastern part of Myanmar, which is basically the Arakan army is the one which is affected here. They are controlling the entire region. The Myanmar army has no control over it. We have to play the game very cautiously in this part of the world. There are too many actors now, and these actors have to be balanced or managed through a very sharp and a close look on their activities. So with that, I think we'll go to the next question. And I would not like to play into your game of splitting Bangladesh into three
Yes.
parts or two parts. It won't serve any purpose. Let me tell you, the problem will become more graver for us. Moment you split these kind of a thing, you start attempting these kind of thing. A, you lose your moral high ground, which we have till now maintained very very closely, despite any government coming into the center or in the states. And B, where will the outflow of people take place? It will take place into India. Ultimately, we are as such struggling with the refugee problem. Why do you want to increase our problem? So try settling this country as it is been carved out, right? That would be better for us. Let's go to the next question. I No, I think this we have already answered. Yeah, this one. Saurabh, General Sir, do you think this tariff is doing more good to us, India, rather than bad for which it is imposed? I called this tariff as teaching ASEAN region of IFF indication of identification of friend and foe. Yeah, Dr. Tara, they will not leave
Well,
me. So you will have to give me the respite. I have been speaking on this for the last 4 5 days actually, लगातार on various
Uh,
channels,
no,
YouTube
I
channels.
think that's interesting. I like the acronym, that identification, friend, and foe. That's a pretty good one.
Yeah, yeah,
But this, I'm again, I don't think I'm really qualified to discuss this tariff business. But there is right now, I just saw this very long tweet by Peter Navarro, which is accusing us essentially of making money and then buying, Russian defense equipment while taking the US for a ride in terms of the excess, the trade surplus that we have with them. So that is how they view it. It can be any amount of illogical, but that is the reality, and we have to deal with it. So I think you're going to have to be a little more imaginative where tariffs are concerned. The which is not my area to discuss, but the problem is that they have made it very difficult for you to deal with it. They are pushing you so hard and so rudely publicly that now for the government to back down and say, okay, let's do XYZ has become impossible. So until they think we are like Europe, we'll just collapse in front of Trump, it's not going to happen. So let's see how this goes.
yeah. Admiral, maybe any quick comment on this, sir?
So I think this tariff issue has become more of a personal issue. Either if I were to think out of the box, I think there has to be a summit like that of Putin and Trump. If there has to be a summit of Mr. Modi and Trump somewhere in a third party country, and they can go to a resort and discuss whatever they want to discuss. But the trade deal, whether it's going to work out or not, some things are red lines, and those are not going to be compromised. Mr. Modi, I think, is dealing with an issue that he has to protect the national security at one end, national interest at one end, and he's also deal with a person like Trump, who's actually put almost 20 years of Indo-US relations on the block. If you look at it, what has this government, how much this government has done for Indo-US relations? You look at it, it's a very big deviation. We posted our previous foreign secretary as the ambassador to US.
Yes.
What does it mean? We are serious about this relationship. Otherwise, we wouldn't do that. Second, under this government, if you look at it, among the four major agreements that we've had with the US side, we've signed 4 of them. Out of the 4, we signed 3 of them under this government. From 2016, we signed the LEMOA. In 2018, we signed the COMCASA. In 2020, we signed the BECA. We've had 2+2 talks, interministerial talks. We've done a lot of work with the Americans. Now, is Trump administration going to throw all that under the bus because of some perceived notion of some advisors? I have my doubts. And if that is the case, so be it. I don't think a nation is going to compromise just because somebody is trying to act tough. We're going to sell our soul. I don't think India or President Modi, Prime Minister Modi is going to sell his soul at any point in time. So I think that's one thing that we have to. Of course, we have got to get imaginative, talk about it, and deal with it. And hopefully, I'm really hopeful that Mr. Zelensky gets some brains in his mind and ends that war. And once the war ends, hopefully this will go away. But it's not going to go away in a hurry, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah. I think both our experts have given out what this tariff means, but I would like to say that India has played this game earlier also, so don't get worried. India has played this sanction game in 2018. It played it out in 1998. We have the resilience. Trump has not played this game earlier. Please be very careful. Trump is a bully. He just thinks that it can be done. It is not going to happen. Trump doesn't realize what is the long-term outcome of this. And I just by calculation, one of the data I read somewhere that in case if this tariff continues, the household expenditure of a US common home will rise to $1,218. It's no mean money. And if it goes to the level of 2018, it will go to $3,200 household expenditure. Trump is going to shoot himself on his foot. that is what is going to happen. So be very positive. Our response should be stand firm. Look for opportunities elsewhere. Look for opportunities elsewhere. Also, see what the Americans are doing. They are actually keeping their back door open. A lot of activities are continuing, irrespective of what the tariff brigade is saying to India. There are so many activities which are ongoing, which are going as per schedule. So Scott Bessent has changed his tone now. Scott Bessent says that there is a scope for India and America. India and America relations are complicated. There is a scope for us to get back and resolve our issues. Jeff Navarro is the mutt. We have a policy in the we have a strategy in the Indian Armed Forces called Jeff and Mutt strategy to deal with your enemy. So this is what they are trying to do. The Jeff is the Peter Navarro and Mutt is Scott Bessent. Between the two of them, they are playing hard and soft game. So they will come around. Just be firm on it. Yeah, you wanted to say something, add something to it.
No, I just wanted to say that though Europe has completely capitulated on the tariffs issue, Canada has capitulated, Japan has not.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that I think that 800
That's
billion investment they've backed out. The trade, I think that delegation
five
which was supposed to
550
go, I think
550 billion
oh, 550, sorry,
500
you're right, 550, yeah.
550 billion they have refused.
They refused. That deal that gentleman was supposed to have left. I think yesterday. He's not going, and he's offering us. For people are going to start pushing back, and China's already pushed back. So let's. This is not an easy game. They'll learn.
Yeah. So next question is by Saurabh Sabarwal. General sir, do you think this tariff? This we already asked. No? Yeah, this
This
has
we
been asked.
already read.
Yeah. Sir, government should transparently share how savings due to Russian procurement were passed on to the citizen. US propaganda is highlighting that most benefits were made by crony capitalists. We must counter. That's a good point. If there is a narrative going on of an information war, we need to have counters. These have a long-term tendency of creating internal instability, and the deep state of other countries are looking at our internal fissures and fractures in our social fabric. Quick comments from both of you, and then we go to the next one.
I think that's more or less a statement which I would agree with. Yeah, I think it's time
Yeah,
for
I
a
mean,
little.
yeah, agree, disagree, whatever you want to.
No, I agree with that. So that I think we can do with a lot more briefings from the government on the regular basis, which we did. We should do a lot more of that in terms of these allegations.
Yeah.
Yeah, agree. Actually, there is a whole lot of data which is available in open source. See, the question here is that would the prices have remained stable if India had not bought? At the end of it, we are buying the crude, refining it at a cap price, and selling it. Now, you have a choice not to buy that oil. If you think we are
Yeah.
profiteering from it, there is a choice which is available to a third party country whether
Don't,
they want to buy from us or they want to buy from
don't
the
buy.
Americans.
Yeah, don't
So you
buy.
don't buy. There'll be glut. The prices will come down further. So that's the. But
Absolutely.
I really speaking don't have a core competence on where this, who made money and how much money.
Yeah, yeah.
I really.
That only time will tell. But what I mean to say is that these are part of all information warfare which is going on, part of the gray zone thing which is going on. There are, in fact, there are CIA operatives who have been now caught in Greenland trying to destabilize, and they are calling it as influence operation. They are trying to gauge the mood of the Greenlanders, whether they would like to join the US, etc. So, do you think India is not being subjected to this kind of a thing? By all means, India is being subjected to these internal, influence operations which are going along. So what you are saying must be part of a bigger game. We won't comment more than that because, as I've promised, we will not be going into politics. Uh, a good comment for all of you to say that I love this positive and constructive channel. Thank you, Gitanjali Rajaram, for your encouragement, and also please encourage others to come and join us and listen to something very very serious, very very to the point, and not blabbering around here and there. Right? So we'll go to the next question, and then possibly we'll have to call it off. Saurabh, I've answered a lot of questions of yours. Let me go to the next one. This is Malhotra. Government should allow R&D expenses to be deducted from income tax payment with a ceiling of 10% of tax amount. Seems to be a good suggestion, but it needs a little more deliberation. Uh, We are not financial experts. We had one of our viewers who says that he is into CA and other things and he can advise us. So if he's still online, he can comment on this, and I'll flash this his comment on this. Unless you all have something to say on this. Okay, as a principle, it is a good comment. Basically, because it is flowing out of the CSR point, which I think Admiral AB raised. So instead of a CSR, he's talking of putting it into our tax system. Earlier we used to have the cess, etc. So something of that nature. Then let's go to this subject. Okay, Silpa. Ladies also must be brought onto the channel. Silpa Murdeshwar. Land nowadays is equivalent to rare earth. If we don't take, US will. I think it's a comment, and you're absolutely right. Damn right. The Chinese have also offered us rare earth as a means to entice us to get them onto their side. Besides other measures which they have done, quick comments from both of our guests, because this is something which they are more aware than me. So over to you, Dr. Tara, and then Admiral maybe.
In terms of rare earths, yeah, I think that is now the
So
main.
what she's trying to say is that the oil has been replaced by rare earth. That's
Oh,
the
yes, absolutely right. I mean, you've seen the US engaging with Pakistan on on critical
On the
minerals.
rail.
Sorry, that's not rare earths.
yeah.
Plus,
Yes, I mean
also a new same thing. It all comes under the same thing. And interestingly, they using Pakistan hosted a conference with Central Asian countries to discuss the
yes,
same thing. It's all one region. I mean, when you're talking of the new US ambassador taking charge of this whole region, which includes India, Afghanistan, Central Asia, you're talking of critical minerals. That is the common factor, one of the common factors, and I think it's going to be taken very seriously. And on the other
yeah,
side, of course, there's China. So there it is.
yeah. So
I
yeah,
passed that.
Admiral Levy, any past that? Okay. Let me go to Gitanjali Ranjan. Ask the experts: will the West Asian geopolitics going to affect us in any way, as the war there too doesn't seem to be ending? Third, Admiral AB, you can take it on.
No, it will impact our economic growth. I fully endorse that comment because, as a naval officer, if you look at much, the Suez Canal is closed because of the Houthis and the war there, and the trade is all diverted by the Cape of Good Hope. Now,
Good hope.
let's say war was to expand into Iran again, and Iran decides to close the Gulf of Hormuz, then all that oil and gas will be stuck inside. And of course, the
Yes.
prices will go up. And the prices go up, obviously, it will impact our economic growth and it will impact our well being and the trajectory that India is having. So, any war will have certain impacts, whether it is the Russia Ukraine war or the Israel war. But certainly, it is in our interest that these wars culminate at the earliest. And I think our prime minister is doing all that he can do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
Anything you want to add?
just one line. That is the Gaza war, which is
Mhm.
going to cause a huge jump in terrorism. There's a whole generation which has been created, which is they've gone into. I mean, regardless of whatever Israel does or doesn't do, this is the reality. You're going to see a massive jump in radicalism and terrorism.
Yeah. Some quick comments so that we are up and about it. That the visitor, I mean, the audience is actually taking our conversation quite seriously. Japan and China hold $2 trillion US bonds. If any one of them create pressure, the US will face massive pressure. US bonds is its jugular vein. Keep the noose tight, and I fully agree with this. Uh, uh, it's for the big players to actually start showing their teeth a little bit. You see, a bully, if you stand in front of it with your legs firm, it backs out.
Hmm.
The moment he sees you buckling, he will pounce even more harder on you. So I think we need to do that. Would like to add here in this?
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, then Japan is investing 10 trillion in India in the next 10 years. When other countries start investing in similar manner, tariff by the US actually shouldn't hurt us. So true. But are you sure about the 10? I have not actually uh, seen this news item of 10 trillion being invested into India. But if it is true, I think it will be a, unless it is an outcome of the recent visit, and I've seen the news item. Any one of you, if you are aware of it, otherwise, as a development, it would be very good for India. And Japan
I
has
think
been a trusted partner. It has always cooperated with us, whether it is bullet trains or any such activities. I think in the infrastructure bit, Japan has been a great help for India.
No, I think this figure is not correct because Indian
40
economy
billion.
is as of now 4.5 trillion, and Japanese economy is smaller than Indian economy. So therefore, to say 10 trillion means a trillion a year, it's a lot of money. So I think there is
So
some.
they
I
are
don't know.
saying it is 1 trillion
Probably,
a year. Which is
promised
one
is
trillion
40
a year.
billion. 40
1 trillion
billion.
is a huge amount. 1 trillion is a huge amount. That would straight away jump our economy, without anything. So maybe there is some problem in the figures, but maybe 10 billion, or I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm not very sure. So kindly check your figures, Gitanjali, and do revert back to us. We'll be more than happy to check it out. But in any case, we will check it out. Srinivas Kambapati, salute and namaste. Allowing R&D expenditure exempt from income tax will result in fraud. However, special purpose vehicles can be created. We agree with it. This is a suggestion which can be worked upon. Let the RBI governor and finance minister look at it. But definitely there is a need for jump starting or enhancing our R&D budget. It goes without saying. This need has been recognized by everyone.
I think that's all
So
there is.
no, no, there are many the comments on our 10 trillion observation. AR
Yeah.
geopolitics 10 trillion is not feasible. Could be rupees, but still looks wrong figure. Gitanjali, it is in the TV news, General Dushyant. Sorry, I'll see it then and see and check which TV this news is. But thanks for bringing us with this information. We will recheck and correct and update our and in what context it has been said. That's also important. There are many questions, but I think we are now reaching our 1 hour target. So I will request my audience that we will continue these kind of open sessions from time to time, and also bring you on the show. You will be answering them. So if that when that happens, I'll be you all will be even more involved with our discussion. A lot of debate now is taking place on the $10 trillion thing. Gaurav Radia, 10 trillion yen, that is 68 billion USD. That's the correction which has been made. Possibly this is correct. This stands to logic. 68 billion per year. It will come to about 6 billion. Doable, doable, and Japan can afford this kind of a thing. See, Japan has to look after lesser number of people as compared to India. Merely size of the economy is not important. It's also the size of the people whom we are looking after. Our 4 trillion looks after 140 crore people, and their 4 trillion looks after a very minuscule number of people. So that is why they can spare this additional money to us. Thanks for clarifying, Gaurav Radia, but still we will look into it. Srinivas Kambapati, sir, if I want to send some suggestions, can I email to which email ID? We have our email ID on our website. Our website is clause.co.in. please go on that. You can note it again, clause.co.in. I'll type it if you want it. I will type it, clause.co.in, and I'll also give the email. The email is director dot clause at gmail.com. So these are the two things. The first one is the website address, and director.clause at gmail.com is the email. So all of you can use these, and I'll leave it as such so that when you see it later on also, you can freeze it and note it down to yourself. So with that, we'll close our discussion, and we will thank our audience for having been very active, punching in so many questions that ultimately I thought I'll be able to answer all of you, but I have not been able to answer all of you. Next time round, we will be much more crisper in answering. Thank you, and Jai Hind, sir, and Jai Hind, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah.